Hey guys, what's going on? I don't want to stall the video or talk too much, so let's literally just get right into it. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing new metas and what I would say as required gear or how to prepare for the new Nether update. So unless you guys live under a rock, you guys know that the Nether update recently came to alpha as of recording this video about 10 hours ago now. Now, I have 3 other videos on very important subjects and topics, so if you guys want to go check those out, those also involve new Nether update changes. But anyway, we're just going to discuss metas and gear that you should get to prepare for the update. Also, I'm not going to cover investments in this video because I really don't want to be responsible for things like people losing money. Before we start though, if you guys enjoy, consider subbing to help me out. I am grinding for that YouTube rank, and also at 5k subs, I'm doing a face reel, so yeah. Alright, so gear. First of all, let's discuss how the Nether update actually functions. So there are extremely high health, high leveled mobs in this update. This means that DPS is extremely useful and single hit damage isn't as useful. Most mobs average around 1.5 to 3 million health, with bosses going up to 70 and 80 million health. These bosses are also extremely strong too, one-tapping you, so you gotta look out for that. So number 1, let's talk about armor sets. For armor sets, it's quite basic. Necron armor still reigns. Although there probably will be a better armor set coming out in this update, people that want to get the first stuff and get an edge on being the first players to do things need pre-prepared armor. So I would recommend just Necron armor, as good as you can get it, as enchanted as you can get it, with as best gemstones as you can get. Now you can also use a set of Frozen Blaze armor. Now it's hard to determine which one's better, but Frozen Blaze armor definitely is better for survivability. Speaking of Frozen Blaze armor, you would use a Blaze pet with Frozen Blaze armor, which isn't a bad pet at all. And while we're on the subject of pets, other good pets are the G-Drag pet, of course, which is the absolute best pet for damage. Nothing rivals the G-Drag pet in damage. Absolutely nothing. Also, the Pigman pet is actually extremely good, actually outclassing the Ender Dragon. It gives, I believe, 50 strength, and it does 25% more damage to mobs over level 100, which basically every mob in the Nether update is level over 100. Oh, and also, while we're still near the topic of armor, make sure that you have yourself a Warden helmet. Absolutely nothing will beat the Warden helmet in damage. Now, let's talk about DPS weapons. Okay, so there are 3 main DPS weapons that stand out. Actually 4. So number 1, and the cheapest and the most popular, is of course the Giant Sword. I think Giant Swords are going for about 140, maybe 160 mil right now in the auction house. Giant Swords are obviously extremely good, and you're gonna want enchanted versions of all these weapons that we're gonna name, because enchanted is better for DPS because of enchants such as Execute and Fire Aspect. So the Giant Sword is a great competitor, and something that does compete with the Giant Sword is the Dark Claymore. Now, I believe that they actually removed the CPS cap for the Dark Claymore, so if you can say Butterfly Click with a Model O, you can do really well with this sword. Again, don't take my word on it though, I'm not 100% sure. Now, I did actually make a video about the Dark Claymore saying that it was kind of trash, and I still kind of do stand by that for the price, although a Chimerified Dark Claymore could be absolutely overpowered out of this world, especially with the G-Drag pet. And then, of course, there's your good old classic Emerald Blade. Again, enchanted, preferably tier 7, and, you know, just have a high purse. I would recommend at least 2 billion coins for this Emerald Blade. And then there's also the Chimerified Valkyrie, but I really doubt that would go well unless you're trying to use a Ferocity setup. But do keep in mind that lots of these mobs and bosses are actually meant to be fought in a community, so having someone having Ferocity might not be the worst idea. And now there's also a bunch of extra items that we can actually talk about. These consist of stuff like healing items. Okay, so first of all, I actually discussed this on my stream and made the price raised by double, but the Ice Spray Wand is extremely critical and crucial for this update. All of these mobs are extremely high health. However, if you just Ice Spray lots of them, you could just kill them. You can Ice Spray some of these mobs and kill them with just something like a Hyperion, and I was doing it today on stream. So an Ice Spray Wand, absolutely crucial, and I would 100% recommend it. Also, I forgot to test this, but the Gyrokinetic Wand might or might not work. I wouldn't recommend going and panicking a purchase, but if alpha reopens tomorrow, you guys can test it and see if the Gyrokinetic Wand works. If the Gyrokinetic Wand does work though, it is very useful, and even if it doesn't work for bosses, it's still extremely useful to pull in mobs and kill them. Also, something extremely important is obviously an orb, either an Overflux or a Plasma Flux. I don't really see why you would go with a Mana Flux. Not much to say about this, pretty obvious. And then finally, another good healing item that you're gonna want is a Florid Zombie Sword, as these help a lot. Also, something that can spawn in summons like a Summoning Ring or a Necromancer Sword could be good too, but I'm not too sure on that. Don't quote me on it. Now, another very important thing is actually getting fishing gear. I would recommend getting full Legion 5 Shark Armor with an Ammonite pet that is level 100. Also, please don't underestimate the Ammonite pet, as it is extremely overpowered and by far the best fishing pet if you have good mining stats. Also, make sure that you don't get a rod because you actually can't fish with rods. If you want to know more about fishing, I have a video on it in my channel that discusses everything about nether fishing and how it works. Another really interesting thing to discuss is the enchant Legion. Now, there's a lot of new things that involve doing activities with other players. First of all, they added loot sharing, as you can see on screen now, at least for fishing, and that makes it really, really useful. Also, again, as we discussed before, lots of these bosses are going to be fought as communities and as players together, so Legion is going to help boost stats a ton. Now, off the top of my head, that's basically all I can think about. Based on everything that we know about the Nether update, this seems really good. Of course, there's always little kind of nitpicky things, like you get a young set to travel the island really fast, or an aspect of the void, but we're not going to get too in-depth on that. But yeah, that's going to be it for all the items. I hope this video was helpful, and if it was, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it really would help me out. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what you guys are going to buy in preparation for the Nether update. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, and yeah, peace.